What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and today is it's a little bit frustrating. I can definitely see that from some people's perspective, but I think you can also say this was eventually going to happen at some point, because right now the mess going on with COVID-19 throughout the entire league, it's becoming a little bit of a mess right now. The entire situation with the Devils, they have what, 16 players on COVID protocol. It's ridiculous at this point. The situation the Dallas Stars went through at the beginning of the season, where their games were, I think, postponed for like a couple of weeks. The Wild going through their situation. The Sabres are going through their situation. Some other players throughout the league have been put on COVID protocol, and right now, it seems like the Flyers are going through the same mess currently. So we found out that after Sunday's game, we all know going into it that Sanheim wasn't playing. He was out with an undisclosed injury. He was day to day. Then we found out after it he was on COVID protocol. That it might be due to contract tracing, and also it was stated that before the game, every player had a COVID protocol test, and the results came back negative on Sunday, so that's why they were allowed to play that game. So, as we're going through today, it sound right now, even though the NHL hasn't officially confirmed it yet, you're getting sources from the main guys, Frank Saravelli, Darren Dreger, that's talking about the game is going to be postponed tonight against the Washington Capitals, which was supposed to be at 6 p.m. So we already know. I think this was announced. I think this was announced Saturday, maybe Friday, somewhere around there. That the games on Thursday and Saturday for the Flyers against the New Jersey Devils at home were postponed because of the situation going on with the Devils. So the Flyers, with this game being postponed, you're basically going to have an entire week off. And your next game right now is supposed to be slated for this upcoming Sunday when you play against the New York Rangers. But who knows if that game's in jeopardy as well? Because right now it's sounding like there's only two players that are just on COVID protocol for the Flyers, or who have actually tested positive. Right now there's nothing officially confirmed by the NHL, so we're not going to find anything out, I guess, until they make that official announcement. But who knows if Sunday's game is most likely, I would say, going to be in jeopardy. I would say that game is most likely going to be postponed. And then the Flyers, they don't play after that, I think, until the following Thursday, because the Flyers had two games scheduled for this week after this Capitals game, which was Thursday and Saturday against the Rangers. Next week, their only games scheduled were Sunday and Thursday, and both of those games were against the Rangers. There was like two sets of 2 days off in that span during next week, because on the 21st of February, that game was slated to be the outdoor game at Lake Tahoe when the Flyers played the Boston Bruins. So I, I'm still not entirely sure the quarantine state, if it's supposed to be 7 to 10 days, if it's supposed to be 10 to 14 days for the NHL. So that I'm still like on the fence about that. I don't fully know. Like I'm constantly refreshing Twitter just to see if there's a update from the NHL on this game, to see if like what Flyers players have tested positive, or like what other players have been placed on COVID protocol. Because like I said, the NHL hasn't officially announced it yet, but you're getting the updates from the main guys, the top guys from TSN, Darren Dreger and Frank Saravelli. You're getting those updates, so when those guys say something, you better best to believe it that the game is postponed tonight. So right now, the NHL, it's becoming a mess. It's becoming a little bit of a mess, because like I said, there's a lot of teams that are in the league that are going through their own situation. The Devils are probably the team that's going through the worst. Like I said, 16 players on COVID protocol. It's an absolute mess. It really is. They played Buffalo like right before they announced they had all those guys on protocol, and now Buffalo's going through a little bit of cases with their players on protocol. Now the Flyers, they have I guess right now, like I said, it sounds like there's two guys that might be on COVID protocol. One of them being Travis Sanheim, and the other guy, we don't know who it is. So we're most likely going to be getting news within the next hour or so, because the game was supposed to be slated for 6, but it's postponed. We all know that it's postponed right now. We know that the other games this week against the Devils are postponed. I would most likely expect next week's game on Sunday to be postponed as well. So we're just going to have to see how this pans out. We're going to have to see how it is, because when you're in COVID protocol, I don't think teams are allowed to practice, so the Flyers are going to have to be prepared for a long off days. A lot of long off days. So I know the situation, like I said, it's tough. it's really tough to see right here because there's just so many ongoing cases breaking out through different teams and throughout the league. Like, thank God it's like it's only interdivisional games, so the breakouts are only happening in between their own divisions. But it's still a little bit of a mess just because there's like so many teams that are putting players on COVID protocol. Like I said, the Devils, they have it worse so far. 16 players. 16. It's still like it's hard to imagine that they basically have almost over half their roster on COVID protocol. It's unbelievable to think about that. And then like now you're gonna get to some of the people that are saying like, oh, why don't we just postpone the season, cancel the season, put the teams in a bubble? They're not gonna do that. They're absolutely not going to do that. The NHL is not going to cancel the rest of the season. It's too much money they're wasting. Right now, you just got to postpone the games, make sure the players are safe, and every league so far has gone through this. When baseball came back, they went through their cases of COVID. The NFL, throughout the entire season, they had their problems dealing with COVID. Throughout, they adapted, they managed to finish off the season in the Super Bowl. The NBA, to start off their season, they had a couple of teams that went through cases. The Sixers had so many games playing with 7 guys on their roster because of COVID. So, and now the NHL, they're going through their situation. So now the league has to figure out what to do, and they have to adapt like the other leagues did. MLB adapted, the NFL adapted, NBA. I don't think there are as many cases in the NBA now than it was at the beginning of the season, so they're learning to adapt right now. And right now, the NHL has to figure it out, and they have to adapt. And like I said, I'm going to consistently refresh Twitter just to see if there's anything that's talking about tonight's game or just tonight's just with the COVID protocol. Right now there's nothing going on at the moment. So like I said, the top guys, they reported that the game was postponed, so basically you're just waiting for the NHL confirmation. So I think that's basically all there is to say on this point. Right now it's just a mess in the NHL, and now the Flyers are going through their situation. Thankfully, it sounds like there's only 2 guys on COVID protocol, but it's better be safe than sorry just to postpone these next few games. Just so you can get in the quarantine, you can get these guys by themselves isolated so they don't have to spread it throughout anywhere else. Because think of it for this situation too with the Capitals. They had, 4 or 5 guys on their COVID protocol list. I know Ovechkin was on it originally before he came back. I think Kuznetsov is still on it. Samsonov is still on it. So definitely the Capitals don't want to go through another situation like that. So it's better to be safe rather than sorry. So rather keep the players safe, and it's the right thing to do. Postpone these games, quarantine these guys, and be as safe as possible. And now the league, with all the cases that are going on so far, they have to learn how to adjust to it. They have to learn how to adapt, and just find ways for players to be more safe. They're not gonna postpone the season. They're not gonna cancel it. They're not gonna do any situations with the bubble. That's never going to happen. So right now, like I said, the league just has to learn and to adapt to it. I know they were talking about doing rapid COVID tests to get the results out quicker, but that's something to just, I guess, in the ongoing weeks, you'll see more of those happening. So, yeah, I guess there is nothing more to say on this standpoint rather than the NHL's just going through they're just going through their things. So, it's going to be weird because the Flyers have had so many days off next week regardless. So, your entire week's postponed now. Most likely, I would expect Sunday's game to be postponed against the Rangers. And you have so many days off after that. You don't play till that next Thursday, and then you have so many days off after that until you're supposed to go to Lake Tahoe for the outdoor game. So I'm not sure how this entire situation is going to affect that transition as well. So we're just going to have to wait and see within the upcoming hours, the upcoming days, on what the situation is actually going to be. But as we know right now, it looks like the Flyers might just have 2 players on their COVID protocol, which, like I said, rather be safe than sorry just to postpone the games. And we're just going to see how this process goes. So, rather be safe than sorry. Tonight's game is postponed. The rest of the week is postponed. And like I said, right now with the NHL, it's becoming a mess. And like I said, they have to learn to adapt and adjust and figure out how to fix this situation. So that's going to do it for this video. It's going to be weird not seeing Flyers hockey for a week, so that's going to be something difficult to adjust to. But hey, we all have to adjust. So what are your thoughts about this situation, everyone? What are your thoughts about how the NHL is dealing with COVID? Your thoughts on the Devils? Just every situation going on with the NHL and COVID right now. So don't forget to leave your comments and opinions in the comment section below. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I am a part of. Their links will be in the description below. Don't forget to check out the Fired Up Podcast merchandise website. We'll definitely be getting a pod up sometime this week to talk about this entire situation with the Flyers. So don't forget to check that out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And I will see you next time.